Hello and welcome to another episode of This Is Portsmouth, the show that explores the best parts of the UK's only island city, Portsmouth.
That's right, we've got a great show lined up for you today. I hope you're ready. My name is Tati.
And my name is Kaylee, so sit back
and enjoy the show.
Thanks for tuning in to our second show. If you missed the first show, you can catch up on our YouTube channel, This Is Portsmouth.
Once again, Portsmouth has many stories to tell, and this week is no different. We'll be talking to Rob Moriarty, an ex-heavy goods driver who is about to take on a challenge that will see him do 7 years of mountain climbing.
We'll then be hearing from Professor Steve Fletcher, who is the Professor of Ocean Policy and Economy at the University of Portsmouth, to find out how Portsmouth can reduce its carbon footprint.
We'll then be finding out about a very cool new way to travel around the city, as well as from a family who faced many challenges over this lockdown period, but came out on the other side.
And finally, we will be speaking to a DJ who has managed to continue performing remotely.
The last year has provided many people with a chance to reevaluate their lives and take on different challenges.
You may have been involved with donating to charity, and we'd like to introduce you to one man facing 282 mountains, all for charity. Meet Rob Moriarty.
At This Is Portsmouth, we are always happy to celebrate people who go above and beyond for a good cause. And after finding Rowland's Castle local Rob Moriarty's Just Giving page, we knew we needed to speak to him on the show. Hi Rob, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Chloe, and yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. You've set yourself the challenge of climbing all 282 Monroes in Scotland. Could you just quickly explain what a Monro is and what makes climbing all 282 of them so difficult?
Right, a Monro is anything in Scotland which is over 3,000 feet from sea level, above sea level. As I say, there's 282 of them. Some of them aren't exactly difficult. A lot of them are just long walks. Ben Nevis, believe it or not, is a long walk, but it's quite a long way up and quite a long way down. That's the only thing with Ben Nevis. In terms of difficulty, it comes around about a third of the way up.
What was it that made you take on such a mammoth task of climbing all 282?
I have this mad streak in me. They're there and it's got to be done. That's a simple answer to that. Having gone up Ben Nevis 3 times, I just felt there was something else.
So you say you've climbed Ben Nevis 3 times before. Do you have any other climbing or walking experience?
Not a fantastic amount. I've been up Scarfell and also Skiddaw, which is in the Lake District. But I've been up Point Big Hills as well.
And when are you planning to start your challenge?
June the 6th this year. Because I'm raising funds for SAFA, June the 6th is the day because it's the anniversary of D-Day. I'm hoping to, in 6 or 7 years' time, to finish on Ben Nevis again.
So you're doing this challenge for charity. What was it that made you decide to support SAFA?
Well, when I climbed Ben Nevis last time in 2017, I raised some money for Help the Heroes. SAFA is another charity which supports the armed forces or personnel when they've left the services. I think really it's to give to those who keep us all free in the country that we live, and they basically put their lives on the line for us. So really it's supporting them in their after service.
Obviously it's not an easy challenge, so how have you been training in preparation for climbing all of the Monroes?
That has been a little bit more difficult with this lockdown. All I've really been able to do is do fairly long walks, around about 8 to 10 miles most days. I have done further, I have done some small hill climbing, but that is about the only way I've been able to prepare for it.
And you've said you're planning to do this challenge over 6 to 7 years, with there being so many mountains to climb. But how many are you planning to climb this year?
I think it's about 20 to 25, something like that. It's going to be between the months of, or in the months of June, July and August. The intentions are to go up to Scotland for 3 weeks, come back for a week, give my body a rest, go back up to Scotland for 3 weeks, come back, and like that every month.
And how can people donate and support you in your efforts with this challenge?
Well, I have opened a Just Giving page. You know, if anybody's interested in having a bit of a walk or a bit more, then they're more than welcome to contact me, and we'll see where we can work it in.
Thank you so much for talking to me, and good luck with your challenge.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for taking so much interest in it, and I'm hoping that some more interest and certainly some more donations to SAFA come through it anyway. So thank you very much for your time.
Wow, incredibly inspiring words from Rob there. We can't wait to see his progress.
Absolutely. If you'd like to donate, you can go to Rob's Just Giving page, which we've posted on our This Is Portsmouth social media platforms. We wish Rob the best of luck with his journey over the next 7 years.
Now it's time to see how Portsmouth is taking responsibility for its carbon footprint, and even give you some ideas on how you can help make the city greener and the seafront bluer.
Let's hear now from Professor Steve Fletcher, the Professor of Ocean Policy and Economy at the University of Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, a naval stronghold of Britain, full of history, from Palmerston Forts to Southsea Castle. While the city has been victim to many attacks in its past, it now faces perhaps its greatest challenge, along with every other city in the world: climate change. Global temperatures have irreversibly risen by 2 degrees, a small number, but one that has already had dire consequences on ecologies around the world. This change is a huge threat to an island city which already has dwindling sea creatures and a nutrient overload in the Solent, creating an abundance of algae which is harming salt marshes and seagrass beds, both essential elements that help convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. Without action, Portsmouth would suffocate, but thankfully attitudes are changing, and the Portsmouth Climate Action Board, led by Professor Steve Fletcher, will help lead the community into a frontline battle to make Portsmouth a green waterfront city. What is your role and how did you get into it?
My role is the chair of the Portsmouth Climate Action Board. That is a group of organisations from across the city who are committed to taking action on climate change in Portsmouth, with the ultimate goal of achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2030.
What's the campaign's focus?
The campaign of the Climate Action Board is focused upon actions at the strategic level, so working with organisations, including the City Council and the university, the hospitals, and so on, to really consider how, as a group of leading organisations, we can drive change through our policies and practices. But also we have a campaign around carbon literacy. So really supporting individuals and communities around the city to understand their impact or their relationship with carbon emissions, and to try and find ways that we can reduce those carbon emissions. And actually, when you really start to look at practical ways to reduce carbon emissions, there are also things that tend to make people healthier and cost less. So moving to cycling and walking, perhaps, or switching to low carbon energy supplies in the home.
What is the strategy of the board?
The strategy of the Climate Action Board is twofold, really. The first is to continue to work with big leading organisations within the city that can influence big, chunky policy decisions in the city, like those related to new building development or transport, or how we manage biodiversity in the city or manage nature in the city. So that is one part of what we do. And that work in a way is often a little bit behind the scenes. It's about trying to influence and support decisions that could have an impact on climate action and the impacts of climate change in Portsmouth. The more public-facing part of what we do is really trying to work with citizens who may not know that much about climate change, but who want to do something. We did a survey in late 2019 and found that 70% of the population of Portsmouth want to do something about climate change and sustainability. But of that 70% don't know what to do. And that's about 50% of the whole city. So we think there's a real role for the Climate Action Board here to help people understand what they can do, and that the things they can do are not always enormous things. And there are things, as I said, that can actually help save money and make them healthier. So we call that second thread carbon literacy or climate literacy, where we're really trying to build up people's knowledge of what actions they can take and then signposting them. So it's all very well saying, buy less carbon intensive food, but what does that actually mean? It's all very well saying, think about having solar panels, but how do you do that? So on our website, we have links to all sorts of organizations and opportunities and ideas for people to make those changes in their own lives.
If the campaign is successful, how will Portsmouth look in the future?
I would say Portsmouth would be greener. We'd see our open spaces used to generate benefits for biodiversity, benefits for people in terms of our health, just walking in green spaces by the coast, and really getting the physical and mental health benefits from those sorts of engagements with nature. What we'd also anticipate is our communities are working together to support each other to be ready. So, for example, we could have some community pocket parks. We could be looking at setting up car clubs in Portsmouth, and there are 2 car clubs that are set up already. And that means everybody doesn't need a car of their own. You just have a car for a small fee whenever you need one. So there are things we can do in our local communities that would really build community spirit and kind of enjoyability, livability of the city, but also prepare us for the sorts of action we might need to take when climate impacts feel more real. They're real already, but they will feel more real at some stage in the future.
Amazing. It's really great to hear about all the future plans and the different ways the community can get involved.
My thoughts exactly. I definitely think we should be taking Steve's advice into consideration moving forward.
So we asked you on social media to tell us the ways in which you've been reducing your carbon footprint. Let's find out what you've been saying.
XX Nazara XX has said that she ensures she eats less meat and more vegetables, as well as walking more and driving less.
Memory Maguchu said that they cycle to work instead of taking the car or bus.
_Marley.m said that he switches off all the lights in his house when necessary.
And Kelvin Mamvura said that he buys local when possible, walking or cycling locally, and recycling waste packaging.
Some really great responses there. Thanks for getting involved. It's great to see everyone passionate about making the city greener.
Now, imagine travelling to work without using your car, a bus, train, or even your bike. Portsmouth Transportation Committee has introduced a new rental e-scooter trial scheme.
And not only will this give the people of Portsmouth a faster way to travel, but it's also new and green.
So let's hear more about the scheme and whether or not the members of the public think it's a good idea.
If you have been walking around Portsmouth recently, you may have seen a lot of orange scooters whizzing about. These are Voi scooters. Voi scooters are trialling a rental service here in Portsmouth. The e-scooters are similar to the so-called Boris bikes, as they are both rentable transport. As you can see, there are many Voi stops across the UK, but they're also all over Europe. The e-scooters were built on the vision of cities made for living, free from noise and pollution. With Portsmouth being a port city, this means high emissions from both road vehicles and boats, which is why Portsmouth City Council has partnered up with Voi for a citywide e-scooter scheme. But what do Portsmouth residents think?
I think if they're used to get people from A to B, then I think that will help because that will reduce the use of cars. What I've seen locally so far is it seems to be that people are using them for leisure initially, but I have seen them being used in London and places like that, bigger cities. So maybe in the future they will be better used. But I think if it's a journey of less than 1 mile, people should be walking if they're able to. And if it's a journey of less than 5 miles, then it's really good to cycle.
I think the scooter scheme is a good addition to Portsmouth because not only is it just like fun to get around and have fun with your mates, but it's another addition to like public transport. It's quite easily accessible, easy to get between each scooter stop and everything, easy to use and all that. So I think it is a good addition.
Personally, I do think that the scooters are quite safe as long as you use them responsibly at a good speed and balance yourself correctly. It is a bit worrying about sharing anything, not just scooters in COVID. So one thing that the company can do is to bring in cleaning stations so people can clean down their scooters after use, and possibly for safety to bring in a helmet rental service as long as the scooters, so that riders can stay safe on the roads.
The real question is the scheme safe? In regards to COVID-19, they are fitted with antibacterial handbar grips, which are made of rubber using a special nano-zinc oxide compound to combat bacteria and viruses. All the rentals will be limited to 15.5 miles per hour, will have indicators, and will use geofencing to ensure they are only used on certain roads. We hope to see you whizzing about in these scooters soon, keeping Portsmouth a greener place.
Electric scooters seem to be very popular at the moment. What a great way to travel around Portsmouth fast.
Tell me about it. And they're going to be free for key workers in lockdown, which is a huge benefit.
So how do you travel around Portsmouth, Chatty?
I normally walk everywhere. What about you?
I walk everywhere as well, but I'll definitely be trying the new e-scooters soon.
Definitely. So COVID-19 is affecting everyone's lives this year, this following family especially. However, they made it their mission to turn their luck around.
During a time of great struggle, sisters Madison and Abby, along with their brother's girlfriend Ellie, were able to support and motivate each other to start up Jacket Required.
Founded in May 2020, they've definitely utilised their time in lockdown. Let's see if their hard work pays off.
Across the UK, many small business owners are feeling the effects of the pandemic. A report by Simply Business UK found that 41% of small business owners fear that their companies are at risk of permanently closing, and an estimated 234,000 small companies have already closed. However, they also recorded that 75% of owners were confident that they would be able to continue or restart their business. We spoke to Maddie and Ellie, who have successfully launched and built their food delivery service, Jacket Required, during the pandemic, despite facing both personal and economic struggles.
Jacket Required is mainly a takeaway and delivery service at the minute. We sell jacket potatoes. In the first lockdown, it was literally only takeaways that were open still, that were could still open for business. So we thought, go for it, and we can still be open and we can still try and like big ourselves kind of thing.
Maddie has been dealing with the loss of both grandfathers who sadly passed away in 2019. But the girls are optimistic and motivated going forward to overcome their struggles and succeed with their new business.
It's affected all of my family and my friends as well. But we've got through it together.
Yeah.
We just take each day as it comes, really. And in a way, it's given us a motivation to kind of live life to the fullest, I guess. It's been tough, but we've got through it.
The pandemic has highlighted the need for community support during these times of struggle, and that is why 66% of shoppers in the UK are now more likely to shop in their local communities than they were a year ago. And Jacket Required is no exception to the benefits of supporting local business.
Local business has been really, really helpful, and especially in Hayling, where it's quite small, everyone knows each other, don't they? So, and everyone supports everyone.
We were so shocked of how much positive feedback we got back, so it's been really nice.
Everyone's wishing us luck.
Yeah.
Following the challenges of coronavirus, the girls look forward in optimism to what the future holds for them and for their business.
Hoping to open 29th of March, fingers crossed.
We just want to expand.
Yeah.
Once this one's up and running, and hopefully a lot of people like it. We just want to expand and just become as big. Yeah.
We want to grow.
Wow, that was amazing. So we asked you guys on the This Is Portsmouth Instagram page if you prefer family-owned business or big corporations and why. So we're going to check out some of your results.
Nix N_B said they prefer big corporations as they're more reliable.
And Pressure Persha said local businesses as they give back to the community unlike big corporations.
What about you, Kaylee? What do you prefer?
I prefer supporting small businesses, but I do understand it can be kind of pricey. What about you?
I'm kind of in the middle. When it comes to gifts, I like small businesses, but for some things, I do agree with that first response where big corporations are more reliable. But what about your ideal jacket potato filling? Because I've never had a jacket potato, so I need some help deciding.
I'd say bog standard, baked beans and cheese, but I think you need to visit Jacket Required because I don't understand how you've gone 21 years without having one.
So we know COVID-19 has damaged the live music scene, making it hard for artists to interact with their fans and play social events. Kaylee, you like live music, right?
Yeah, of course. I can't wait to be back at concerts and festivals, hopefully sometime soon.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sure everyone watching feels the same.
So we are going to be hearing from a DJ who has had to take his sets online since the clubs closed last March.
Hello, my name is Tobias Greenwood, also called as Green Glass, as a music producer and DJ in Portsmouth. I particularly brand myself as a house DJ, and it is something which I've loved for all my life. Anyone can DJ really, but with the market there is at the moment, there's so many people DJing, it's really hard to stand out. And especially with COVID and the whole pandemic, it's so hard to be able to DJ at clubs and get your names out. And it almost feels like your dream of being on the main stage is getting crumbled. I started working at Astoria in my first year of uni. I just had a passion for music. I chose Portsmouth as a city to go to uni and start my music career because it has such a diverse music industry. The city is just fulfilled of amazing ideas, of opportunities for music. I always like to walk around Portsmouth, especially around the beach. It's great with inspiration and it makes your music stand out to those others online. What makes you different from someone else is how much you want it and how much you're willing to sacrifice to get that dream. I personally think the government has not done enough for DJs and producers, not only in Portsmouth but around the country. The music industry has almost been taken as a joke. As a producer in Portsmouth, I don't feel like I can rely on it as a job yet because I'm not able to play in clubs. especially in a small city around in Portsmouth where it's so close together and there's only a small amount of limited clubs. It really makes you have to work hard to get the goal and be different as a DJ. Being chosen as a concrete resident is an incredible experience for me, as there is hundreds of other DJs who would love my spot. So there's something about feeling the audience's vibe and seeing the way they dance and smile. It really makes you want to continue your hobby. I don't think there's any point in saying, oh, you know, in 10 years' time I'll be DJing Glastonbury, because it just makes you feel really bad about where you are at the moment. Living in the moment, as cliche as it sounds, is the best way to put it. Being a Portsmouth DJ, it's really great where I am at the moment, and I've came a long way from when I was 16 on my app, being a nobody, to being someone who I would say has made an impact on the house music community in Portsmouth.
It's crazy how times have changed, but he's still doing a great job online.
Yeah, it's so good to see that the creativity hasn't stopped whilst everything else has.
It just makes me more excited for when we can see things live again.
Yeah.
Do you have anything lined up for this year?
I mean, not yet. I mean, I normally would try to go to Reading or Glastonbury, but I am not having too high hopes for this year.
Yeah, I do go to Reading, but I don't know if it's going to go ahead. I feel like everyone's being a little bit too hopeful, but fingers crossed.
Do you have any artists you want to see live?
I love Post Malone, so I'd like to see him live, but when possible.
Yeah.
We don't want to do it too soon.
Yeah, I had tickets to see NF live. I don't know if you know him. He's like
a
rapper. And Laney as well. They're a band, like one of my favorite bands.
So good.
Yeah.
So, before we leave, we want to say a big thank you to everyone who has been engaging with our social media content recently. It's been great to hear your thoughts.
And if you'd like to get involved, message us on Facebook or tag us on Instagram, both with the handle @ThisIsPortsmouthTV, and let us know what your favourite part of the show was.
And don't forget, if you've missed anything, you can head over to our YouTube channel, CCI TV channel, to catch up.
And lastly, if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to explore in future shows, or even a story you want to share, then be sure to email us at tisp@port.ac.uk.
It's been great to be back. Everyone, have a great day.
Thanks for watching.
This is Portsmouth.